Hi guys, you're welcome to Dssg Nation. So if this is your first time watching a video from Dssg Nation, do make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so we can notify you when we release a video. So today we are going to be talking about the Renin Angiotensin Aldosterone system. So pick your paper and your pen and let's get started. Hi guys. Yeah, so you're welcome back. So we said we are going to be talking about the Raas, Renin Angiotensin Aldosterone system. Now, this R, it means renin. The A here is angiotensin. So the next A is aldosterone. And the last S is system. So the Raas means renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Now, to get this straight, we said we have renin, then angiotensin, and then aldosterone. So we call them a system. Now, from our knowledge of overview of anatomy and physiology, we know that system is a combination of what? Combination of organs. So a system is a combination of organs, but does that mean the renin, angiotensin and aldosterone, does that mean that they are all organs? No. But what are those organs? We said the Raas is a combination of organs. So what are those organs? So majorly we have 4 organs working in the Raas system. So the first one is the kidney. The second one is the liver. The third one is the lungs. And the last one is the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. So all these organs, they are working in the Renin Angiotensin Aldosterone system. The question is how? So I'm going to show you that after turning the board. So we are going to talk about renin. Then after that we talk about Angiotensinogen, and then we talk about aldosterone. So, but before we proceed, okay. Or let me just do that in the next scene. So stay tuned. Yeah, so we're talking about the Raas. So I said the R is renin. Renin. So this renin is produced by the kidney. And we all know that our kidney is just a bean-shaped organ. So within the kidney, the microscopic structure of the kidney is called nephron. Now, this nephron, this is just the diagram of the nephron, technically. So, for the nephron, we know that we have an afferent arteriole that forms a capillary bed, and then the efferent arteriole. So, this junction between these two arteries, so this junction right here, is called the JGC. JGC, which means juxtaglomerular complex. So the J, G, and the C. So at these very junctions, we have 3 cells. But the one that we're interested in is granular cells. Out of those 3 cells, we have some cells called the granular cells. So the granular cells are the one responsible for producing renin. So renin is produced by what now? It's produced by the granular cells of what? Of the JGC. So that is where renin is being produced from. Now the second one, the A. The A is angiotensin, but it has an inactive form called Angiotensinogen. So this Angiotensinogen is produced by the liver, and that is the second thing. So the next one, aldosterone. So the A is what? Aldosterone. So this aldosterone, we have the kidney right here. So the kidney has a gland on it. It has a gland on it. So this gland, it has 2 layers. This gland is called the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. So the outer part of this adrenal gland is called adrenal cortex. So this adrenal cortex is the one responsible for producing aldosterone. So aldosterone is produced by the adrenal cortex. adrenal cortex. So that is that about the renin, angiotensin, and aldosterone. So being a system now, all these organs, they have to work together to normalize some imbalances. So what are they? I'm going to come in that in the next slide. So stay tuned. Yeah. So we said our renin is produced by the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex. So angiotensin is active and active form, and it is produced from the liver. That is angiotensinogen. Then we said that aldosterone is produced from the liver, aldosterone from the adrenal cortex system. So we're talking about this system now. This system is just a kind of mechanism that balances four imbalances. So what do I mean by that? For every mechanism, we must have stimuli. Stimuli means a change. So what is that change that occurs in renin angiotensin aldosterone system? So the first one is called low blood volume. The next one too is low blood pressure. So the next one is low sodium level, and the last one here is high potassium level. So whenever the body is experiencing either of these four or all of these four, the Raas mechanism is going to be initiated. Now, what will happen in renin angiotensin aldosterone system? If there is low blood volume, what will happen next? Or the low blood pressure. So let's start with the low blood pressure now. So we know that this is our kidney now. The abdominal aorta is coming like this and it branches into the renal, and the renal supplies the kidney. So this is the abdominal aorta. So blood is coming from here, and then this will be our renal artery now. Our renal artery. So this will be the abdominal aorta. So there's no need in all this. You don't know, you just forget what's for now. So blood is going to flow to the kidney. Now let's say this blood coming in, it has a low pressure. So what is going to happen next? Because the pressure is low, the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex, they are going to secrete renin. That is the first thing that will happen. So after the secretion of renin, what will happen next? The liver as well is going to secrete what? The liver is going to secrete angiotensinogen. So like angiotensinogen is the inactive form of angiotensin. So this renin produced from the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex, JGC, is going to act on angiotensinogen produced from the liver, and it is going to convert it into angiotensin I. So that is the first thing that will happen. Now, we said the organs involved in renin angiotensin system is the kidney. So the second one is the lungs. We talked about the liver, and we talked about the adrenal gland. Now, the liver has done its quota by producing what? Angiotensinogen. So, and the kidney has done the whole quota by producing what? By producing renin from the what? From the granular cells, from the juxtaglomerular complex rather. So after then, what will happen next? These lungs now is going to produce what we call ACE. So ACE is angiotensin. The C is converting. So the C is converting. The A is angiotensin. The C is converting, and this E is enzyme. So ACE is angiotensin converting enzyme. Now don't forget, the when produced by the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex is going to react to what? Angiotensinogen from the liver, and it's going to produce what? Angiotensin I. So what will happen next? The angiotensin I is going to react with ACE, which is coming from where? From the lungs, and it's going to convert it into what we call angiotensin II. Angiotensin II. So this angiotensin II is a potent vasoconstrictor. A potent what? A potent vasoconstrictor. So now what a vasoconstrictor leads to? It will lead to vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction. If you have not watched that video on CBS, you can understand this, but you can't just go back because of that. I'll drop the link ahead so you can check it. So, like, this is the equation you have to put in your head. So, the granular cells, the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex is going to produce renin. So, when there is a low blood pressure, this is going to happen. The granular cells are going to secrete renin, and renin is going to react with angiotensinogen from the liver, and that is going to produce angiotensin I. And after that, ACE, angiotensin-converting-enzyme from the lungs, is going to react with that angiotensin I, and when it reacts with it, it's going to produce angiotensin II. And angiotensin II is a potent vasoconstrictor. That is, it brings about vasoconstriction. And now, if this is your normal blood vessel, and then vasoconstriction occurs, it's going to become like this, which means the volume has dropped here. And when the volume drops, what will happen? It will shift up our pressure. So that will lead to what? Increased blood pressure, which is the opposite of what? Opposite of low blood pressure. And that is that on renin and angiotensin. So the next thing we are going to go to next is the aldosterone, and then we finish this. So like a quick recap, whenever there is low blood pressure or low blood flow to the kidney in pressure actually, so the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex, they are going to secrete renin, and renin is going to react with angiotensinogen, which comes from the liver, and then it is going to form angiotensin I. Then the angiotensin-converting-enzyme from the liver is going to act on angiotensin I again, and it's going to form angiotensin II. And our angiotensin II is a potent vasoconstrictor, which means it's going to bring about vasoconstriction. And our vasoconstriction here is going to shift up our blood pressure, and that is that on that. Now, I'm going to clean the board so we talk about aldosterone. Yeah, so we were discussing the renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So I said it is triggered by 4 factors. The first one, low blood pressure. So the second one, that is low blood volume. Low blood volume. So the next one, that is low sodium level. Low sodium level. And the last one is high potassium level. High potassium level in the blood. Now, we said if there is low blood pressure, renin is going to be produced by the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex. So that is going to react with angiotensinogen from the liver, and it is going to be converted into angiotensin I. So we said angiotensin-converting-enzyme from the lungs is going to react with it and turn it into what? Into angiotensin II, which is a vasoconstrictor, a potent vasoconstrictor, and that is going to do what? It is going to constrict our blood vessel, which means the volume of the blood vessel will drop, and according to the vessel, the pressure is going to increase. So thereby normalizing this factor. So now, to the low blood volume. If there is low blood volume or reduced blood volume to the kidney, is our abdominal aorta branching into the what? Into the renal artery. So if there is low blood volume, enough blood is not getting to the kidney, what is going to happen? The kidney is going to act by reducing the next A, which is aldosterone. Now from the where? That is from the adrenal cortex. Adrenal what? Adrenal cortex. So adrenal cortex is going to secrete aldosterone. And now what is the function of aldosterone and where is it going to act? The function of aldosterone is to reabsorb sodium. Reabsorb what? Reabsorb sodium. But from where? Majorly it reabsorbs it from this unit called the nephron. So this is the nephron. I'm not drawing a full diagram of the nephron just because I'm not dealing with nephron right now. So aldosterone is going to act on the nephron and it is going to reabsorb sodium back into the blood. And another fact is wherever sodium goes, water is going to follow it. So and majorly what forms the blood volume is the sodium and water. So aldosterone, when there is low blood supply to the kidney, low blood volume, adrenal cortex is going to secrete aldosterone, and the aldosterone is going to act on the kidney, on the nephron rather, by reabsorbing all the sodium, not all actually, but reabsorbing majority of the sodium into the blood. And then, as sodium is going into the bloodstream, water is going to be following it as well, and that is going to constitute what? The blood volume, which means this has been normalized, and that is that on the second factor. Now, the third one, it has already been normalized here as well, because sodium is being reabsorbed, and when sodium is being reabsorbed, that is going to normalize the low, and it is going to bring it about. It is going to bring about the high sodium level in the blood. And lastly, high potassium level. Just know that potassium and sodium, they behave just like estrogen and progesterone. Whenever estrogen is high, progesterone is going to be low. And whenever potassium is high, it means sodium is going to be low. So if estrogen is high, progesterone is going to drop. So if potassium is low, sodium is going to be high. What's the meaning about this? In short, we said that aldosterone is going to reabsorb sodium, and that will bring about high sodium level. Which means, as sodium is being reabsorbed, potassium is going to be excreted in your urine. And that is just how these four imbalances are normalized. So like a quick recap on this. So we said if there is a low blood volume, blood volume itself is made up of the sodium and water. Actually it's more than that, but just take it for Raas like that. So when there is low blood volume to the kidney, the adrenal cortex is going to release aldosterone into the bloodstream, and it is going to act on the nephron. And what is the function of aldosterone? That is the absorption of sodium. So sodium is going to be reabsorbed into the bloodstream, and then wherever sodium goes, water is going to follow as well. So making water and sodium reabsorb together from the kidney, and that is going to bring about the normal blood volume again. The blood volume is going to be normal. And now the next imbalance is the high sodium level. So the high sodium level is going to be normalized by its aldosterone as well. So, and after that, high potassium level, so it has to become low, which means it must leave the body. As sodium is being reabsorbed, potassium is going to be what is going to be excreted, because they behave like estrogen and progesterone. And that is that on the renin, angiotensin, and aldosterone system actually. So renin as well, it also has a function that is performed when it comes to thirst. So renin also talks to the osmotic receptors, and the osmotic receptors, they are going to sense the thirst of that person, and the person is going to be compelled to drink water. And drinking of that water can add to the blood volume. So, and that is that on the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. I really wish you get this, but let me just quickly come in with a recap. Like I said, the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system is just a system that normalizes four imbalances. So the first one is the low blood pressure, second one is the low blood volume, the third one is the low sodium level, and the last one is the high potassium level. So I said to normalize the blood pressure. So whenever there is reduced blood pressure, renin is going to be produced by the granular cells of the juxtaglomerular complex, and then that is going to bring about what? That is going to react with angiotensinogen coming from the liver. And what happens next? It is going to convert angiotensinogen into what? Into angiotensin I. And then ACE, angiotensin-converting enzyme, is going to come from the lungs and from the distal convoluted tubule as well. So and it's going to act on what? It's going to act on angiotensin I, and it's going to convert it into angiotensin II. And this angiotensin II is a potent vasoconstrictor, and then that is going to lead to what? That is going to lead to constriction of the blood vessels. And when the blood is restricted, it means the volume has reduced. And according to Boyle's law, when the volume has been reduced, the pressure is going to shoot up, and that is going to normalize the first imbalance. So the second one is the low blood volume. Whenever there is low blood volume, the adrenal cortex, it is going to secrete aldosterone. Now aldosterone and water, they are the major constituent of the blood volume. They are those that really make up the blood volume. So aldosterone is going to reabsorb it from the nephron, and that is going to bring water to the teeth, and that is going to normalize the low blood volume. So the next one is low blood sodium. Aldosterone, its main function is to reabsorb sodium, and when it reabsorbs this sodium, it means it is normalizing the low blood, so the low sodium level like that. And I said for the last one, which is high potassium level, whenever there is increase in sodium, potassium must be excreted, it must drop, because they behave like estrogen and progesterone. So and that is that on renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. So we are going to meet some other class. So if this is your first time watching a video from the Dssg Nation, just do make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so you can notify you whenever I release any video. Hi guys.